dangerous, unhinged even? Let's ask someone who represented the U.S. in the region, U.S. Ambassador to Finland, Ambassador Derek Shearer. Mr. Ambassador, it's great to have you with us. You write now for the Washington Monthly. My first question is, do you think they're right about him?
Well, I think Ambassador McFaul, who's dealt with Putin when he was our ambassador, is right that Putin, I wouldn't say unhinged, but he's, I think, made a serious misjudgment. And when I've talked to some of my Finnish friends who've dealt with Putin, they've just felt that he's become much more irrational, detached from most of his aides, except a small inner circle. And I think he's made a serious misjudgment. As the colonel said, they can ultimately win a military war, but they've already lost the PR war. And the economic costs to Russia, which have already started with the big drop in the ruble, for example, have not begun to hit yet. And I think he underestimated President Biden and the EU and the strength of their response. And he certainly has underestimated the Ukrainian people.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, Mr. Ambassador, because I was wondering about the same thing. It appears he is going to or will potentially lose the economic war of this, if you will, because the international response has been overwhelming and it continues to grow. Is it enough to stop him, and is it enough to lead to a military defeat on the ground in Ukraine?
I don't think it's enough to lead to a military defeat, but while they can win ultimately, by killing a lot of people and destroying a lot of property, that's a propaganda defeat. That means that their argument that somehow this is really legitimately part of Russia and it's just a few, Nazi Ukrainians, as Putin, alleges, that are running the country, and really the Ukrainians want to be part of Russia, is not true. I mean, one of the things that struck me when I was following the news this morning is to see Ukrainians heroically preparing what are called Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
Now, the first time that Molotov cocktails were used in war was 1939 by the Finns. And Molotov was the foreign minister for Joseph Stalin. And the Finns heroically dropped these gasoline bombs into tanks that were invading Finland. This was 1939. And, it's also amazing or sad that we're suddenly back at, 1939 with a Russian invasion across a international border.
Well, we're hearing a lot of comparisons to World War II, that's for sure. Mr. Ambassador, what do you make of the talks that happened today between Ukraine and Russia? It appeared they didn't really produce much, which I don't think surprises many people. But do you realistically think there's a diplomatic end to this somewhere down the line, or are we too far gone from that?
I think there's a diplomatic end. It just depends on how strong we keep up the Western response, which has been very, very good. I've been very impressed with President Biden and his team, and even more with the EU. He just saw in the last day or two the change of Germany, and willing for Germany to not only send weapons, but support much tougher economic sanctions. That raises the long-term cost to Putin. And you have to remember, Ukraine has a population of 40 million people. And while Putin can defeat their army, how does he govern? What is the end game for him? I've asked a lot of people, what is the end game? And nobody seems to know what will come out of some diplomatic resolution. One hopes that it would allow Ukrainians to run their own country, but the more damage, the more people die, and it's all being broadcast around the world, the greater the cost, not only to Putin, but sadly for the Russian people, because they're going to be disconnected from the rest of the world.
Yeah. All right. Listen, great insight from Ambassador Derek Shearer. We appreciate the time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.